They're 37-20. And one of the best records they ever had on the road was back in 1976 when they were 48-33. Well, they're looking to get above the 500 mark here at home, and Pedro Martinez will grab the baseball and throw a pitch here in Philadelphia for the first time in a Phillies uniform. And here's the starting lineup that he'll be facing tonight for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Leading it off at shortstop, Stephen Drew. Ryan Roberts bats second. Gerardo Parra in the center fielder bats third. Mark Reynolds is the third baseman batting cleanup. Miguel Montero, the catcher, hits fifth. Rusty Real, the second baseman, bats sixth. Alex Romero, the right fielder, hits seventh. Josh Weitzel bats eighth, and batting ninth and pitching is right-hander John Garland. And they'll be opposed by right-hander Pedro Martinez. Wheels.
There's Pedro Martinez going through his little pregame routine out there on the mound. There are the numbers in that one start he had last week at Wrigley Field. 99 pitches, and he got himself out of a big jam in the fifth inning so that he could go long enough to be awarded the victory in that game. The Phillies had a pretty big lead in it. This is what we saw from him last week. Didn't know what to put down for fastball. Now from Southwest Airlines, he was in the area of 87 to 92. Curve, cutter, and had a real good changeup, of course. And, you know, talked about this guy for years. He just knows how to pitch. And he was hitting his spots pretty well the other night. It is a brutally hot night here. So, you know, you think you'd like to see him go a little bit longer. It'll be interesting to see how long anybody can pitch in this stuff.
Well, Charlie Manuel said before the ballgame he thinks the heat will help Pedro Martinez, and he sees him going anywhere between 100 and 115 pitches in tonight's ballgame.
Yeah, he was telling us that too in his pregame radio show that you know, he's from the Dominican Republic and he likes to pitch in the heat, but this stuff is oppressive tonight. Time now for our Key State Chrysler Jeep Keys to tonight's ballgame. Well, we're talking about the first game of the homestand. Some homestand. 3 games, so make the most of it. Control Mark Reynolds. This guy, if you don't know him, is one of the top young power hitters in the game. He is mule strong, and he hits some of the most prodigious home runs you'll ever see.
And foul balls, too. We saw him hit some foul balls at Arizona that were long ones. Well, here we go. Pedro Martinez about ready to throw his first pitch here at Citizens Bank Park as a member of the Philadelphia Phillies. And he will face Stephen Drew, a .264 hitter with 10 homers and 49 RBIs. He's hit very well here in Philadelphia. The Diamondbacks yesterday did not have an off day. They went to Atlanta to make up the game that was rained out earlier this season. They wound up losing to the Braves.
And they got to their hotel room the other night in Atlanta in time to see the last 2 innings of the Phillies-Braves game. They were coming in from Phoenix that night.
Of course, that Phillies game was delayed by a little more than an hour and a half. 1-0 the count to Stephen Drew. And the count 2 balls and no strikes. Drew was 2 for 5 yesterday with a run scored, an RBI, and that came on a home run. Good change up, 2-1. His last start against the Cubs, Pedro threw more than 50% changeups. He threw a lot of fastballs too, but he threw an awful lot of change of speeds, and he has a good one. There's another one. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and that breaking ball he's throwing now is kind of a little cutter slurve, you know, in between type of breaking ball. He throws a lot of right-handed hitters. He still likes to throw fastball changeup to left-handed hitters, and you saw that one just dive.
Drew lays off. It's 3-2.
Threw him another one.
And Ryan Roberts waits on deck. I mentioned that Pedro threw 99 pitches in his first start in the Phillies uniform. And that changeup's hit in the air to right field. Pretty deep. Jason Worth going back, and the Diamondbacks lead it 1-0. 11th home run of the year for Drew. And not the kind of start that the fans or Pedro were looking for.
Well, Pedro in this ballpark has a really high earned run average. He had some high-scoring games when he was with the Mets. The Phillies hit him around a little bit, and you know, he threw another changeup, looked like 3 or 4 in a row, and he took a look out there like, that's kind of close. I don't think he thought this was a home run when it left the bat, because you see Drew hits it right off the end of the bat. But on a night like this, in this ballpark, they are going to fly.
Well, that'll bring Ryan Roberts to the plate. Roberts has hit in 7 of his last 11. He takes a fastball for a strike. Well, Drew is now homered at back-to-back games. And he's barking out some instructions to Parra in the on-deck circle. Roberts overall hitting .276 with 5 home runs and 14 RBIs. It's been a pretty good find for the Diamondbacks, a guy that last year played for the Chicago White Sox. See what Pedro's numbers are here at this ballpark. 7.85 ERA.
He had 2 starts here where they got him pretty good. And one was last year when he was way ahead in the game. And Phillies wound up catching up and beating the Mets as Chris Coase had a real big game. Got a walk-off hit.
Two and two the count to Roberts. Nobody out here in the top of the first inning. And Roberts asks for time. Last week, that victory for Pedro was the 215th of his career. He is the active leader in winning percentage in Major League Baseball. He has won 215 games. He's lost just 99. And in this day and age, to have an ERA of under 3 as part of your career numbers with all his starts, that's pretty impressive. And a line drive toward left field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. So Roberts is aboard.
Well, he threw him a little flat slider there. That breaking ball we talked about, that kind of in between curve slider. And he dropped down a little bit on it, but it stayed in the middle of the plate. Oh, off to a tough start tonight on a hot night. And this is the kind of night you do not want to throw a lot of pitches.
Well, he's facing one of the better rookies in the National League in Gerardo Parra. Parra's hitting 10 straight on the road for the Diamondbacks.
Well, they have some really good young players. Upton is on the disabled list right now. He is a tremendous talent. And Chris Young, who looked like he was going to be a heck of a player last year, he's in the minor leagues.
Yeah, in fact, the starting outfield for the Diamondbacks, and there's Mark Reynolds, another good-looking hitter. The starting outfield for the Diamondbacks AAA team in the next couple of days could be Connor Jackson, Eric Burns, both of whom are making a rehab start, and Chris Young, who's down there probably for the next couple of weeks because he has struggled so much here in the big leagues.
Yeah, not the way they drew it up at the beginning of the year, which, you know, you laugh when you go through an offseason with baseball. There's A.J. Hinch. They didn't draw it up as him to be their manager either. It was Bob Melvin. You know, you laugh when you think, well, this is the way it's going to be for the season. And it never is. It's always, a mix and match thing.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Parra.
All kinds of guys play a lot you don't think are going to play. Unfortunately, guys get hurt. They have bad years. And these guys have been through a lot of turmoil this year.
There's Upton to the right. He was running today. They're hoping to get him out on a rehab start sometime in the next few days.
He was playing when the Phillies were in Phoenix a few weeks ago.
Slider misses outside, 2-1. There's Justin Upton.
Saw a lot of his brother BJ in the World Series last year. They're from the same area where David Wright is from, Zimmerman, and the guy on deck, Reynolds, in Virginia.
Pedro's thrown a lot of pitches in this first inning, and he just doesn't look comfortable right now.
He's missing his spots. The other night in Chicago, he was right there with a lot of his pitches. Tonight, he is not. That changeup, that 3-2 changeup that went out of the ballpark, kind of, it looked like it rattled him a little bit. Like, how'd that leave here?
Back toward the middle. Pedro's got it to second for 1. J-roll to first. A 1-6-3 double play. Well, that'll settle you down a little bit.
Yeah, and he almost airmailed that baby. Pedro's a good pitch, a good fielder. Always has been. A guy throws the bases well. And he knew who the cover man was. Turned around, looked for Jimmy to be there. Just supposed to throw it in the vicinity of the bag and then let your infielder take over. And it was like, uh-oh, that's a little high. He got himself in good fielding position and then just threw it high, but Jimmy, and then with that little flick, and all of a sudden looked like he was in trouble. Out of it.
Here's Mark Reynolds, and Reynolds takes a big hack and a miss at the first pitch. That went at 91 miles an hour.
This guy's fun to watch. I don't know if you watch him all the time, but he is hot right now. Look at the homers he's hit. And he'll strike out a lot, and then he'll just hit one so far you can't believe it.
Those 14 home runs leads the National League since the All-Star break. This was a long one against the Phillies in Arizona.
Yeah, this one, Brad Lidge had a couple-run lead, thankfully, and we never saw one go up there before.
He hit one foul in that series that went even farther than that.
Well, they're throwing him all high fastballs so far, and they're intentional high fastballs. He's chased 2 of them, and you know, Pedro used to do a lot of that.
Look at the splits between the first half of the season and the second half of the season. 2-2 the count to Reynolds.
Just all fastballs and all elevated. That's one thing he will do. I mean, he will chase upstairs. He's a low ball hitter like most power hitters are.
And he got it. 164th time this year Reynolds has gone down on strikes. It was a changeup from Pedro, and he gets through this first inning. He does allow a leadoff home run to Stephen Drew, his 3rd career leadoff home run, first of the season for the Diamondbacks. Run of his career. And here is the way Charlie Manuel is going to counter tonight, leading it off at shortstop Jimmy Rollins. Shane Victorino bats second. Chase Utley hits third, followed by the cleanup batter Ryan Howard. What a road trip he had. The number 5 hitter is Jason Worth. He's in right field. Raul Ibanez, the left fielder, hits 6th. And the bottom third of Pedro Feliz, Carlos Ruiz, and Pedro Martinez facing veteran right-hander John Garland, who enters this ball game with a 6-10 record, a 4.28 ERA. And the Phillies beat him earlier this season. And he is, as advertised, he's an innings eater.
And he's a quality pitcher. They're going to see 3 real good ones in this series with Aaron Moyer and then Doug Davis, the left-hander. Here's the Southwest Airlines scouting report. He likes to keep the ball down, tries for ground balls. He has a real good cutter and a sinking fastball. So he's a ground ball pitcher. The problem with his team is they kick a lot of ground balls around, as they did in that game in Arizona, and really beat themselves that night.
Well, they've made 98 errors this year, which is 15th most in the National League. That's a lot of errors. They and the Washington Nationals, and I think even the Florida Marlins, have been in the mix for the most errors in the National League this year. Jimmy Rollins gets the bottom of the first started with a single to right field.
Well, that's what ground ball pitchers do. You know, they live and die with the ball on the ground like that, obviously, and you got to catch them. Or if you get a little bit unlucky, you find a hole. And in Jimmy's case, he hit that really hard, found a hole.
And Weitzel did everything he could to try to get that ball on a dive, but he couldn't pick it up. That'll bring Shane Victorino to the plate. Shane had a pretty good road trip. Not only has he hit in 5 straight, but he scored 7 runs on the road trip. And man, has he come to life here in this ballpark. Last 37 games, he's hitting .422 here in Philadelphia. And a quick toss over, and Jimmy's back before the tag. Look at that. Overall, a .342 hitter in this ballpark with 3 home runs, .280 on the road. takes one outside.
Well, one of the reasons he's come to life in this ballpark is the guy leading off has. And when you're the 2-hole hitter and you got a guy on base like a Jimmy Rollins, the hole's open. He's a base stealer. You see more fastballs. Everything about it is fun to hit 2 behind a base stealer.
That's a really good point. You know, the two of them have combined for 155 runs scored this year. So there's a lot of production in those two guys.
Well, you know, that's why you love to have a 2-hole hitter be a left-handed hitter behind a guy who gets on base a lot like Jimmy does and who can run. Because the pitcher's worried about him stealing, he'll throw fastballs at the 2-hole hitter, and Shane Victorino can yank a fastball.
1-0 the count to Shane.
His thing now is to look middle in early in the count and don't swing if the pitch is away.
That was away, and it's for a strike on the outside corner.
Right now, if you get strikes called on you out there, that's all right. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. But early in the count was my point, to be disciplined, to look for middle in to pull and try and get a first and third early.
One or two if Jimmy's going to think about trying to pick a spot to run. Now, Garland, despite his size, does get the ball to the plate quickly. Montero's not great throwing guys out. Jimmy doesn't go, and the pitch is inside. Charlie Manuel saw a lot of John Garland when he was in the American League with the Indians. Garland began his career as the top pick for the Cubs, but didn't make it to the majors with the Cubs. But he was a good pitcher for the White Sox for a long time. Well, Mike Riley's the crew chief. He's the home plate umpire tonight. Chuck Merriweather's at first. Mike Muklinski is at second base, and Lance Diaz is around at third. We've seen a lot of Mike Riley this year.
Yeah, Eric Cooper's in this group, and we had him down as an umpire, but he is not here, and Muklinski's in his spot.
Second time this year that Muklinski has umpired games with the Phillies. Two balls, one strike to count to Shane. Phillies trying to answer here in the bottom of the first. And a line drive the opposite way, a base hit for Victorino. Well, good job by Shane. He lined that right through the hole at shortstop. The 142nd hit for him this year. And the Phillies have the first two batters aboard to begin this first inning.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a late swing at a fastball, looks like here. Hits it hard in the hole. You know, he obviously wanted to do it the opposite way, but that's fine. First and second, nobody out. That'll work.
Well, good speed on the base paths against Garland. Montero lays down the signs as Chase Utley gets ready to dig in. Chase on the road trip was 6 for 21. Thought he was 1 for 11, as you see there, against the Atlanta Braves.
Well, the Phillies didn't hit much on that trip, and they went 5-1. It's because their pitching was really good.
Really good.
I mean, Ryan Howard hit. Ryan Howard won games single-handedly for them on that trip.
Well, the one hit for Chase against the Braves, this Ryan, was a home run. Ryan, meanwhile, his 2 home runs against Javier Vasquez on Sunday night. Well, that was the game.
Yeah, when he hit that changeup out and gave him a 3-run lead, you know, that felt pretty good at that point because Vasquez was dealing as always.
Garland spins back toward Jimmy. Nobody was even there, but that chases him back to the bag. Last time the Phillies faced Garland and the Diamondbacks, Chase was 1 for 2 in that game. That's the only time that he has faced John Garland. I mentioned most of Garland's pitching up to this year has been in the American League. To it, on the inside corner, excuse me. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Chase.
Yeah, he agreed with you. Chase did not think that was a strike. He runs that fastball back, but that's low. I mean, he looked like we're maybe sometime from the side, you know, you think, all right, it did cross the knees or above, and maybe that one did, but it didn't appear to. But he caught that one really low.
Garland back in 2005 won 18 games for the White Sox. It was the first of 2 successive years in which he won 18 games. 2005 was when the White Sox won the World Series. He pitched in 2 games during that postseason, and he was really good in that postseason. One of those games was a complete game. Jimmy gets back sliding, feet first.
He's really worried about these base runners, and you know, you like to see that Phillies parlay that into some runs here.
And Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Jay Luciano of Vineland, New Jersey. If the Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, then Jay will win $100. So good luck, Jay. Wouldn't be bad to see you win that $100 here. 2-2 the count to Chase.
An off-speed pitch there behind in the count. Garland's done a little bit of that tonight, throwing breaking balls. He's pitching backwards early in this game. And he looked like he was swinging fastball there and got out front, just hit it off the end of the bat.
Well, you mentioned he was a ground ball pitcher, and you see there 20 double plays that he has rolled.
That's what he tries to do, is keep the ball on the ground. That's when he's successful. See, Pinheiro has turned into a sinker ball. And John Lannon, huh? Most ground ball double plays.
And the count full now, 3-2 to Chase.
Managers usually don't like to start guys 3-2 with nobody out because the line drives a triple play. And with that guy on deck, you don't want anything like that to happen. Now, Montero's going to go out in front of the plate and give signs to the middle infielders on what they're going to do if the runners break. But it's unlikely they will.
Garland again. He might think that the Phillies look runnerish.
Well, this guy's working at a snail's pace right now on a hot night, and that can't be good for his defense.
Runners don't go. 3-2, ball 4, and the bases are now loaded.
Wow, 3-2 changeup with Ryan Howard on deck. That's different.
And here comes Big Ryan.
Now, if Ryan Howard isn't hot like he is right now, but still a 3-2 changeup. There's the first one. That was one we couldn't believe he hit out because he pulled his arms in, and he still hit it over almost 400 feet. This one, he got extended on a high changeup, and that baby was way up in the air and landed about 10 rows deep. Gave the Phillies a 4-1 lead, and that's what they won the game by.
Yeah, Jay Happ was really good Sunday night, 7 2/3, but it was Ryan's offense that gave the Phillies that 3-run lead. So now he's working with the bases loaded. Jimmy's on third, Shane's on second, and Chase Utley's on first.
Reynolds is trying to figure out where they want him to play, the third baseman.
Ryan a little indecisive on that fastball, and the count no balls and 1 strike.
It's like he started to swing, think I'm going to hit a first ball fastball, and then, as you said, Tom, realized it was high.
Well, they play the infield back with 3 infielders in the right side of the diamond. So they'll allow the Phillies to tie this game up. 0-2 the count to Ryan Howard.
This is where they were so bad on that road trip with runners in scoring position and still won 5 out of 6.
Well, part of that was because Ryan was so good with runners in scoring position. In fact, over his last 11 games, he's hitting over 400.
And they hit homers. You know, that's where they're trying to get away from to get a little more productive without the long ball, because they're going to hit homers because they have home run hitters. They're going to go upstairs again.
He lays off.
You can see the catcher Montero putting that glove up. There's A.J. Hinch, who was in the Phillies organization for a while and is a former catcher.
1 ball and 2 strikes the count to Ryan. Third in the league in RBIs with 91. And he rips that one foul right past Davey Lopes. He was right on that pitch.
Yeah, he just got out front a little bit. That's that cutter that Garland likes to throw into right-handed batters, and that's what he's done with the Phillies have done with runners in scoring position. A lot of that was Saturday, where they really had a tough time, and that wound up costing them the game. As much as Lidge's blown save, it was the fact that they weren't up by 6 runs in the 9th inning, where they should have been.
They could have blown Kawakami right out of that ball game
a couple times. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. And you know, you look back on that game and worry about what Lidge did, but it should never gotten to that point.
Lays off. That's a tough one to hold up on. 2-2 the count. Nice job by Ryan. So the bases remain loaded. The count is even at 2-2. Phillies trail it 1-0 here in the bottom of the first inning. Try to get that run back and maybe a little bit more.
Right. That's great. Garland taking a long walk behind the mound. Ryan Howard wants to take a look at the baseball, and Mike Riley says, all right, I'll take it out for you. It's umpire discretion.
Took a look at it, see if there was a scuff or something on it. Perfect angle for a guy that is the franchise leader in grand slams with 8.
A lot of extra cameras here tonight, probably because of Martinez.
Yep. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and Ryan's down on strikes. So 1 away. The bases remain loaded as Ryan walks back to the dugout.
Well, they got him on the pitch they wanted to get him on again. It's that high fastball, and he will chase that. Chased a couple in that at bat. He was really off balance as he finished that swing and going after that high pitch.
So Ryan's retired. And John Garland now will go back to work against Jason Worth. Jason had 5 hits on the road trip. Just 1 for 11 in the series over in Arizona earlier this season. He's tied his career high in home runs with 24. And he takes one inside, and he's ahead 1-0. Jason's also tied his career high in runs scored this year. And he's been the Phillies' leading hitter with runners in scoring position the last several weeks. He took that over from Pedro Phillies. And he hits one in the air, foul territory. Over is Weitzel, 2 away. Jimmy tags from third, goes a quarter of the way down the line, and then stops. Now it'll be left to Raul Ibanez. Saw that number, 2 for their last 20 with runners in scoring position. Make it 2 for their last 22.
He runs a fastball in on him, broke his bat. Jason Worth, more than anything here, wants his ball to go out of play. But this is what they did a lot of on the road trip.
Well, Raul Ibanez has seen John Garland more than anybody else in this Phillies lineup. 355 career hitter against him, and he pulls one right at the second baseman Ryle, and the inning is over. So the Phillies load up the bases with nobody out, and Garland gets the next 3 batters. Phillies strand 3. They trail it 1-0. In the bottom of the first, Pedro Martinez probably thought, all right, this offense is really, pretty good. They scored 12 runs in my last outing. Maybe they'll get off to a good start here. And that T-shirt is going to be brought back out of retirement with Pedro Martinez now wearing a Phillies uniform. He'll go to work here in the top of the second. And the first pitch rolled right side. Chase Utley's got it, and Montero's retired for out number one.
Well, we talked about the 3-2 changeup that he threw to Utley to load the bases with nobody out. As you look at that little girl with that Pedro shirt and think, man, that is a prescription for a huge inning. And they let him off the hook. Didn't hit a ball out of the infield.
Well, one out, and the batter, Rusty Ryle. Ryle hitting .462 in a Diamondbacks uniform. It's a guy that in AAA was hitting .290 with 17 home runs and 70 RBIs. Former 14th round selection back in 2005. He's got some ties to the Phillies.
1989, his dad, Mark Ryle, left-handed hitter, more of a pinch hitter and a spare outfielder, played here in Philadelphia. If that name sounds familiar.
0-2 pitch to him. And they go upstairs, and he holds up. And it's 1-2. This is only the 8th game for Ryle. He's hit in 5 of his first 7. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike 3 call. That is a nasty pitch, even at 37 years old.
Well, it was like a curveball almost. It was slow. He threw it right at him, and he had that slight flinch. Watch him give a little flinch. Right there, see him flinch? Now it's over. That's the one thing about the breaking ball thrown out. Hitters will tell you that's the easiest one to hit if you see it. If you don't, you flinch and take a seat.
Here's Alex Romero, and he swings at the first pitch, and he pops it up. How about this inning for Pedro Martinez after a long first? He just throws a handful of pitches and gets out of this second inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Diamondbacks. The Phillies offense back to work in the bottom of the second. Taking on the San Francisco Giants, but it's also Motrin IB Ladies Night. That means the Phillies All-Star Print for all women 15 and over. Wednesday the 2nd is a Goya Latino family celebration. And then finally the 3rd, well, it's a 7:05 start. It's a good night to be at the ballpark. You can log on to Phillies.com, make your purchase today. Seems like it might be Ladies Night here tonight. The Phillies and the Diamondbacks are facing off here in the bottom of the second inning, and then you see the Giants a game back in the wild card. But the 2 National League East teams, the Marlins and the Braves, they're heading north in that wild card race. Pedro Feliz leads things off here in the bottom of the second. Pedro had a decent road trip. He was 7 for 26. Look what he's done against the Diamondbacks for his career. All those games played as a member of the San Francisco Giants. He's got 15 career home runs against Arizona. And he pulls that one towards shortstop. Stephen Drew will take care of him. 1 away. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Braves have taken a 3-0 lead over the Mets in the bottom of the second inning. Matt Diaz, a 3-run home run.
Those guys just continue to get bad luck. I mean, they lost Cora for sure last night with a thumb operation, both thumbs. And of course, David Wright's on the disabled list after getting beamed.
You're not sure if he's going to be back for the rest of the year. Carlos Ruiz swinging at the first pitch, and he lines it into center field.
I was talking to Mark Grace about it. He was doing that game on Saturday for Fox in New York, and he said that was one of the scariest things. He said, you know, there's no way he could get out of the way, and the sound that made when it hit the batting helmet was really frightening.
Well, you had that happening, and then Hiroki Kuroda for the Dodgers got a liner off of his head. He was pitching and went into the stands, and there's Mark Grace, who was doing that game with Tom Brenneman this past Saturday.
He said it was awful. I asked Gracie, did you ever get hit in the head? He says, yeah, in Reading. Believe it or not, he's in the Cubs minor league system in a game at Reading, he said. But he said they don't remember anything about it, which is probably one of the best things that could have happened to him.
It's true. Pedro Martinez up there to try to sacrifice. And he bunts the ball in the air, and the count 0-1. Pedro has 62 sacrifice bunts for his career.
Even has 3 sacrifice flies. But right now, just trying to get it down and maybe get a 2-out run.
Bunts it in the air toward first, and that's going to be picked up foul by Weitzel, so it's 0-2. If Weitzel had caught that ball, then Carlos Ruiz would have been doubled up at first base.
Yeah.
Because he was moving as that ball was bunted.
Yeah, when a ball's bunted in the air like this, you know, you really need to freeze. And you see it bunted, and, well, he did. He froze.
He did freeze, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he read that it was going to hit on the ground. So.
And he saw that nobody's going to get to it.
That was a good job by Carlos and a bad job by me reading it.
Well, I didn't see it, to be honest with you, so I was waiting for the replay. I was going to follow you on that one. And then, whoa, he did freeze.
Well, then he got a heck of a jump after freezing.
Yeah, he did. It's the only time we'll use that word tonight.
And Pedro down on strikes as he punts that one foul.
Freeze.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of that going on here. Well, 2 outs. Well, tonight on Sports Night, Derek Gunn reports as Brian Westbrook speaks to the media for the first time about his ankle surgery, and Marshall Harris is outside the Phillies clubhouse with live player reactions. All the news Philly fans need to know tonight on Sports Night, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Figure the other thing they're going to be covering is Brett Favre's return to the NFL. Minnesota Vikings introduced him today as their quarterback. After all that,
guy likes to stage comebacks. Huh?
Jimmy Rollins bounces the first pitch foul right toward Andy Rabel, our cameraman over on the first base side.
Sometimes it's hard to say goodbye.
Very difficult. Short lead by Carlos off first. Jimmy last night, along with a number of his teammates, were at his 4th annual baseball tournament at Lucky Strike Lane in Philadelphia. And what a great event. They raised a lot of money for the Arthritis Foundation and for the Rollins Family Foundation. He really did a nice job.
Well, a lot of guys on this team do that.
I was impressed with how many guys went to the event after they got in to their houses close to 5 a.m. yesterday morning.
You know, that's a good point. You know, that thing wasn't supposed to be a night game originally, you know, when they had the game scheduled, or the thing scheduled for Monday. And then, of course, with the rain delay, the plane landed at 5 minutes of 4. But they support each other, these guys. You know, they like each other, and they have charity events. They help each other out.
2-1 the count to Jimmy. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes as he sprays that one foul. Well, Jimmy's family was there. His dad, James, was there. Gigi, his mom, was there as well. Ryan Howard. And the list goes on and on. Shane Victorino.
Ryan Howard likes the bowl.
Ryan
Pretty
Howard,
good too.
He can throw that bowling ball pretty good down the lane, pretty fast too.
Yeah, he's a bowler. He's a serious bowler. It's like Myers. Brett Myers is a serious bowler. The best one though the Phillies ever had was Mitch.
He was pretty good. He was there too.
Oh, Mitch is a real bowler.
3-2 the count. The high score last night was Bobby Bonilla, who rolled a 206. Shane just observed, just as he's observing Jimmy Rollins right now in the on-deck circle. There's a young lady representing the Philadelphia Stock Exchange by the name of Mary Ellen Heim, who rolled a 179.
Oh, that's impressive.
That was very impressive. Ruiz will be running. The pitch is hit right back to the middle, and it's caught by Garland. What a play, self-defense style. And John Garland wants nothing to do with that baseball anymore as he just discards it. And the inning is over. Well, John Garland had to be on his toes to make this grab. And he did, as Jimmy hit it right back to the box. Go to the Fan Forum section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. Wheels, the question is, what player had the walk-off base hit in Game 7 of the 2001 World Series for the Diamondbacks? Wheels looks like he is very confident that he knows this answer. The answer will be revealed in the 7th inning. And that cloud cover is an unbelievable sight that's coming over the ballpark right now.
Wouldn't want to be in an airplane near that.
I don't think there have been airplanes going through that in a couple hours. Look at that.
Looks like a movie.
It's like Independence Day.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, never mind. I'm going to eat my words.
Well, he's getting in quick. That's going to be one of the last airplanes coming in for a little while.
I can't believe somebody was actually up there. No, we start the top of the 3rd inning. Josh Weitzel, the number 8 batter. And those are some dark clouds. Weitzel hitting 204 with a home run and 14 RBIs. And he sends one in the air to right field. The wind's got a hold of it, kicking it toward the corner, and that's a foul ball. Just foul.
We were thinking anything in the air right now to right field could be a home run. A pop-up could be a home run, and that was a pop-up.
That was a pop-up.
That was no more than a pop-up, and Pedro's looking like, you got to be kidding me. And I think it just barely goes foul too. Oh, look at how close that was to hitting the pole. There's Chuck Merriweather. Good job, hustled out there.
Now the wind is whipping not only Chuck's shirt but also those flags. They count no balls at 2 strikes to Weitzel. Wrappers everywhere. And it's 1-2. Folks are starting to head for some cover. Weitzel lines one to left field, and Raul Ibanez does a nice job just staying with it. One out here in the third.
Yeah, that's the one you hope you get as an outfielder, that it stays low like that and doesn't get up into this Wizard of Oz wind that's coming up. Man, where's Toto? That looks like those scenes you see from the Midwest, you know, when tornadoes drop out of them.
I think Mike Riley just went over to Mike Buckholder, Phillies head groundskeeper, and just asked him, how much more time do I have?
Well, yeah, I mean, if they have a forecast that it's going to rain, then they want to get the tarp on quickly. And the ground crew's great with that stuff, helping the umpires out.
There's Mike, and there's Mike.
And yeah, Mike and Mike. Well, they don't want to. They don't want to get dealing with a tarp blowing all over the place too, because then it's so hard to cover the field.
0-2 the count to John Garland, hitting .098. That's the tarp for home plate or the mound. And Garland is rung up on a nasty curveball from Pedro. Third strikeout for Martinez, and he's done a nice job of bouncing back after the home run and the base hit to start this game. He's now retired the last 7 batters that he's faced.
Mike's looking up at that sky.
He's looking at it the old-fashioned way. No radar is needed. He's looking at the sky just to see if he can get a better idea of where the clouds are and where the rain is.
There's a few drops.
How about all those pitches Pedro threw in the first inning? Came back and threw 5 in the second inning. And now he's got 2 outs here in the top of the third, and the count 0-1 to Stephen Drew.
Yeah, they've gotten pretty aggressive with him. Man, that's different looking.
I think we should call Camden and let them know it's coming.
Look out. Look out, Joyzy.
Oh, 0-2 the count to Drew. And into the air to center field. Victorino on the run, fighting the wind, makes the grab, and the inning is over. Pedro Martinez with a fist pump. He likes that defense out in center field. Weather permitting, when we come back in the bottom of the third inning, it'll be Victorino leading things off. The third inning, as Shane Victorino will lead things off, and he will do so against right-hander John Garland, who will come out after a lengthy delay of more than an hour. In fact, it's about an hour and 6 minutes as he's prepared to throw the first pitch to Shane Victorino. Well, I'll tell you, the grounds crew did a fantastic job not only getting the tarp on the field, but they've gotten this baby ready in very quick fashion. So here we go, bottom of the third. Phillies trail at 1-0. Jamie Moyer is loosening up in the bullpen for the Phillies. And Victorino takes a pitch for a strike, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. And there's still some moisture back behind second base. This field, as we said, drains very well, and that moisture should dissipate as the inning moves on.
Yeah, it got challenged, no doubt about it. You mentioned great job with the ground crew, with the umpires. Everybody did their job tonight and prevented this from being like another half an hour delay while they had to get the field ready.
Well, officially, it was a 1 hour and 6 minute rain delay, and it came down fast. I mean, that storm hit very quickly. Let's hope that's it. Two and 1 the count to Victorino. And Shane chops one toward first. Knocked down by Whitesell, and Victorino is out at first base. Whitesell stayed with that one, and Garland was over there to cover.
Yeah, it looked like he bobbled it again. Saw that and thought Victorino's going to beat it out, and they still got him.
So Shane is retired, 1 away here in the bottom of the third.
Take a look at it. Kind of got caught in between with a hop here, did Whitesell. See, right there he gets a short hop. Tough play. Now, right, see him bobble it again? And he had to pull it back and reload, and he still got him.
We said this is a Diamondbacks team that does not field their positions very well. They've committed 98 errors this season. And Shane was busting it up the first base line, too. And he was moving quickly.
Yeah, that was actually a really good play by Whitesell after he got handcuffed on that short hop, because you said he stayed after it.
Chase walked his first time up, and he is hit by a pitch, so he's aboard for the second time. That's the 18th time this year he has been hit by a pitch.
And then with a breaking ball, too, a soft breaking ball, it looked like. Is that 101 now?
101 for his career.
Who's counting?
He's got the Phillies franchise record, so it's not a record. It's a record he knows that he's going to keep accumulating, but it's not one that if you're a hitter you want to keep accumulating.
Right.
So 1 out now for Ryan Howard. Ryan, with the bases loaded his first time out, struck out swinging. And he's going to try to make up for it here. Takes a breaking ball inside. Ryan is 6th in the league in home runs with 30. And we mentioned before, 91 RBIs. What a run he's had his last 8 games. He's hitting .429 during those games.
Yeah, and he really carried the Phillies in a lot of those games on the road trip. It looked like he was trying to do it in his first at bat today, too. Which was a long time ago, but he was chasing high fastballs with the bases loaded, nobody out.
Lays off there. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
And you know Garland's going to go back up there again. Threw him a breaking ball to start this at bat, then the high fastball. That was way out of the zone.
Kind of wonder how sharp John Garland's going to be, since the delay was an hour and 6 minutes. Plus, you add in the top of the third that he had to sit through. Ryan sends one in the air a mile high into right field. It's not deep. Ryle pointed up for Romero, the right fielder. He makes the catch. 2 away. So Chase is back to first. Hey, when you can't follow the Phillies on Comcast Sportsnet, you can follow the action on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com @Bat 2009. Visit Phillies.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase today. 2 outs here in the home third. Jason Worth, who popped out to first, is only time up. He'll dig in. couple of really good articles on Jason the last few days, just about reaching his career highs in a handful of different offensive categories. And it was kind of interesting to listen to Charlie Manuel talk about Jason's athleticism and what he envisions for Jason in the future. He envisions an even higher ceiling than Jason's reached already. Loves his athleticism and loves the potential power, which the last couple of years I think Phillies fans have come to understand.
Well, he's still young. You know, he had some years where he didn't play, so you know he still has a pretty fresh body. And this is really the first time he's had a chance to play like this, to get all these at bats. And they always wondered what he could do, and they're getting a feel for it.
Well, he's going through a little bit of a rut right now. He's 5 for his last 34. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Mets put an 8th spot up in the bottom of the 4th inning. They now lead the Braves 8-4. That game's moved to the bottom of the 5th.
That was on Derek Lowe.
Derek Lowe had a 4-0 lead in that game, and Bobby Cox kept him out there for a long time in that 4th inning. Off speed pitch over for strike. It's 1-2. So 2-2 the count to Jason. You know, a lot of times starting pitchers who come back out after these kind of delays, and this one was an hour and 6 minutes, they'll throw inside just to keep themselves sharp. And I'm sure that's part of what John Garland did while he waited. It remains 2-2. Katie Hoy makes a fan happy down that left field line. That youngster waited out that storm and said, "I'm getting a baseball."
Boy,
we're not going anywhere.
Dan Baker asked the fans to please exit towards the concourses when that lightning started. The fans, they couldn't get out of here quick enough.
Oh, it was coming fast.
That was nasty.
Some of the thunder was loud too.
Well, there was some fireworks show going on.
Well, and the folks in New Jersey, I think now are feeling the same kind of feeling the storm, because it was heading right over there, right across the Walt Whitman and into South Jersey. 2-2 the count to Worth. And he lines one toward left field. Moving over is Roberts. He dives and he can't get it. And he kicks it to the corner. Utley's around third. He's going to score. Up to second base is Jason Worth. And the Phillies have tied this ball game up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, and that's a bad play by Roberts, and good for the Phillies. With 2 outs, all you want to do is keep that ball in front of you and make the Phillies score with 2 outs, because that's going to be a single, at the most a double. It kicks away just a little bit, and second and third with 2 outs. So, you know, Tom, you've been mentioning that these guys struggle defensively, and there's a perfect example right there. They just give you a run. Here he goes. He has no chance to catch this, and then he dives for it. Instead of just staying on your feet and trying to take an angle and go and block it, when you dive, the odds are it's going to bounce by you. Now here he goes, dives, and splash.
It hit him right on the side of the face.
Yep. Well, he's a tough guy. Look at all that.
All those tattoos.
Yeah.
Got to be tough to get all that ink.
Really?
It's got to hurt. Well, Raul Ibanez now the batter with a runner in scoring position. They're going to walk him intentionally.
It's like anything else in this game. There's times to do something, times not to do it. And in that situation with 2 outs, that's not a good time to do it. And they're talking about that, I'm sure. Well, they may be talking about the strategy they're doing right now. Whoever's in charge of the outfielders will talk to Roberts about that.
Raul takes the walk. Phillies have runners on first and second. And Pedro Feliz will be the batter. A.J. Hinch was talking to Kirk Gibson, who was his bench coach. Kirk Gibson was Bob Melvin's bench coach as well.
You talk about tough.
You talk about tough. You talk about intense.
Oh, man.
And now John Garland and Miguel Montero are going to talk about Pedro Phillies.
Well, Garland has publicly gotten fried a few times talking about the lack of support he gets, and you know, that's one thing you don't want another player to do, because everybody tries out there. Some are just limited in what they can do.
So 2 outs, runners on first and second. Pedro grounded to shortstop his first time up. Got a chance to give the Phillies the lead. Jason Worth has not taken advantage of that steal of third as often this year as he has in past years, but the Diamondbacks are still conscious of it. Mark Reynolds is over at third. And that's in at the knees, and the count 0-1. Pull toward the hole, base hit it to left field, works around third, heading for home. Roberts' throw sails high over the head of Montero, and it kicks behind home plate. Ibanez to third, Phillies to second. The Phillies lead it 2-1 on the RBI single by Pedro Phillies. And another mistake by Ryan Roberts to let that ball go.
Yeah, he's really struggling out there. Wow. He has no play at home there. You know, that's just what you do as a third baseman. You just, or as a left fielder, you throw this so the third baseman can cut the ball off. And right here, he airmails it. See, there's the cutoff man. You see, how about Reynolds' reaction? And then everybody moves up. But Reynolds' reaction was, that summed it all up. Reynolds just put his hands to his hands down, like, oh no, this isn't going to have a happy ending.
Well, that's 5 errors on the season for Roberts, who's normally an infielder out in the outfield because they don't have a whole lot of extra players. Here's Carlos, who singled his only time up.
Well, they're going to pitch to him too with the base open and 1 and 2 outs. Eric Bruntlett is out there to bat for Pedro Martinez. No matter what happens, Pedro can't win this game, but he could have been the losing pitcher. You know, he gets a no decision tonight with 3 innings.
Little looper, that's going to drop in for a base hit. It splashes toward the right fielder Romero. 1 run scores. Here comes the second run on 1 hop, and Pedro is out at home plate. That's a nice throw by Alex Romero. It's an RBI single for Carlos Ruiz, who has 2 hits. And the Phillies take a 3-1 lead into the 4th inning. It's the end of 3, 3-1 Phillies. Last relief appearance, it was back on June 24th, 2004 with the Seattle Mariners. It came against the Texas Rangers, and this is his first relief appearance in a Phillies uniform. 23rd game overall. As a starter, he was 10-9 with a 5.47 ERA, and he comes in with the Phillies leading it 3-1 as we begin the top half of the fourth inning. He made 172 consecutive starts since his last relief appearance. And it's time now for our Geico quote of the day, and it's about Jamie on moving to the bullpen. I will deal with it in a respectful way. I will be respectful to my teammates. I do not want to be a distraction. It is about the 25 players that are here and are playing. We all have to pick each other up. We all have to support each other. We all have to be professional about how we feel. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. And the rain begins to fall again here in Philadelphia. And the first pitch from Jamie to Ryan Roberts is taken low. Gary Matthews joins us here in the fourth. As the rain, you can see in the lights, comes down ever so lightly. And a line drive, base hit for Roberts to start this fourth inning. How about this flash? We were talking about lightning a few minutes ago. How about some of the sights we've seen at this ballpark? Look at that bolt of lightning, Sarge.
Yeah, that got me out of here right away.
A couple more glimpses of that lightning as they were preparing the field to restart this game.
Yeah, I think Jamie had time to think about some of the earlier comments that he had made, and really it is about the team.
Slow roller to the right side. Ryan Howard will take the sure out to first. And one away. Well, Sarge, I would have to think, and Jamie's been in this game a long time, and Charlie even acknowledged that after Jamie was moved to the bullpen. Charlie said it was the toughest decision he's had to make. But I would have to think that as a player, and you would know this better than anybody, it's difficult when a decision doesn't go your way.
Oh, absolutely. And especially for a guy that's used to playing and also contributing. And he did that in a big way last year. But the fact is, again, it's not so much last year as in what you're doing for me right now.
Mark Reynolds the batter, and he fouls the first pitch into the glove of Ruiz. And the count is no balls and one strike. I think a lot of folks were surprised with Jamie's comments that day in Chicago, where we picked up that Geico quote of the day. Since that time, he hasn't said a whole lot publicly, but he's continued to work. Nice play by Pedro Feliz behind the bag, 2 away. Oh boy, that ball took a weird hop right at the end, and he was still able to stay with it.
Well, the one thing that you realize when Jamie's pitching, that they are going to have action, and especially to the left side. Hitters usually pull Jamie. That ball was actually smoked by Reynolds, and check him out. A little backhand as he does it. What a fine arm, though. Had his eyes right on the target the whole way. A lot of times you think, why don't you go in and maybe tag Roberts out, but that's the proper way.
Well, and now they're going to get the final out with a runner at third. Nice coverage by J.B. Moyer over at first. He strands one at third. His first inning as a relief pitcher since 2004. Oh, it goes pretty well for J.B. Moyer as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Mitsubishi midsize. Drive one today. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF-NOW. By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phillies. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly. Well, last of the fourth inning. Philly fans who have been able to dodge the rain and lightning and the thunder. They've watched their team take a 2-run lead as we go to the bottom of the fourth. And Jamie Moyer's going to get a chance to bat. He's got 3 hits this year and 30 at-bats. Leading things off against John Garland. And it's 0-2. Sarge, I was mentioning before that Garland, and this is just an assumption, probably threw a little bit under the stadium while the rain delay was going on. I mean, you know, from a player's standpoint, is that what you would do to keep your arm loose?
That's interesting. I talked with Larry Anderson just about that. He said he didn't see any reason why a pitcher couldn't go out and throw after rain delay, because they can do just that in the cages. You can go in and throw, warm, keep your arm warm, so you're not just sitting there for that whole hour.
Slow roller off the glove of Garland. Jamie may be able to beat this one out, and he does without a throw.
Wow.
Well, they say it's so important to just put the ball in play and see what happens, and that's exactly what Jamie did.
Well, right off of Garland's glove, that's a play normally a pitcher would want to be able to make. But again, when they don't make it, usually it's a hit. You can see the ball going right back up the middle. Well, he stretched for that. Wasn't in the position like it was on that line drive. So,
well, they've given Garland an error on that one. Second error of the game for the Diamondbacks.
Now, that's a tough error only because he's not in position, even though the ball was not hit that hard on the other side of him. So that's why I think it should be a hit. If he's normal position, he should be able to catch that ball if he's in the right position.
Well, here's Jimmy, who's 1 for 2. And he chops one toward first. Weitzel goes to the bag for one. And his throw is wide at second base. They will not get 2. So 3 unassisted retires Jimmy Rollins. Wednesday, September 2nd at 7:05 when the Phillies take on the San Francisco Giants. It's also a Latino family celebration. Goya Latino family celebration. So enjoy the music, the dancing, and the food. Goya and Toyota are again teaming up to help fill abundance. On the 2nd, your donated Goya product will be matched by Goya for donation to fill abundance. So order now at Phillies.com. Get your tickets, and also don't forget to bring your goods to the ball. Here's Victorino with a runner in scoring position. Shane 1 for 2. That one's in the air to right center field. Parra on the run, makes the grab. And look at Jamie. Jamie's tagging from second, and he's going to go to third. He's had a very active inning since taking over for Pedro.
Yeah, almost too active. Don't want him to run out of gas on the bases. End up getting on an error, which really should have been a hit. Now watch him. Now this is how you end up. Oh, he's reading that. That's what you have to do as a base runner. You think that fielder's going to catch it as he gets over with no slide, no problem.
Well, that's important too, because a base hit now would definitively score Jamie from third. It may not have scored him from second base.
Yeah, also a wild pitch, even in the air, would be able to go on and get in.
Chase has walked, and he's been hit by a pitch. Scored his 83rd run of the season earlier. And he's got a chance to drive in his 77th. With Moyer on third and 2 outs. Off the end of the bat toward left center field, and Parra will make the grab, and the inning is over. So Jamie is stranded on third. We've completed 4. It's taken a little while with a whole lot of rain. We go to the 5th with the Phillies leading it 3-1. At 7:05. All 3 games are at 7:05. You can log on to Phillies.com. We invite you to do so because there's still some good seats available for that series. And as we've mentioned many times before, the Phillies and the Nationals have played some interesting games over the last few years. And you see the Rockies lead the Nationals 3-2 in the top of the 9th inning. Nyjer Morgan has a couple hits, though, for Washington in that game. And the Nationals are still excited about the fact that they were able to sign their top pick, Steven Strasburg, from San Diego State right before the deadline to do so for a reported $15 million on a 4-year deal.
Yeah, it's getting out of line. They got to have a cap on that. They got to start to have a cap some kind of way. You have pitchers that have been pitching that have been on the team, a lot better pitcher than a guy that would be coming in. So now what you're doing is you're paying on potential. So for me, the last place team should be able to get the #1 choice. But, I wish they'd put a cap on that for sure. First year players.
Well, there were a number of first-round picks, Sarge, and that took until the deadline to sign. In fact, only 2 first-rounders did not sign this year. As Rusty Ryle works the count in his favor, 2-1.
Well, they get to where they have agents. Agents are pretty smart, and they know that for a club, when they lose their #1 choice, and they put a lot of money and scouts and going in and seeing this player, it sets your back some.
Oh, sure.
So it's very important to sign that #1 guy there, whether or not he's a pitcher, whether or not he's an everyday player.
Well, for the Nationals, there was a lot of pressure for them because a year ago, their #1 pick went unsigned. So for them to lose a second #1 pick, that would have pushed them back even farther. Fortunately, they didn't, but it would push them back even farther.
Yeah, well, at least they had last year's money to help out for this year.
Good point.
It really kind of paid off for them if this pitcher is like they say that he is. So it remains to be seen. Yes, I've seen him pitch. He has good stuff, good breaking ball. He seems to have good command. But let's see what happens when you get 40, 50,000 in the stands and see whether or not the backside gets tight or not.
3-2 the count to Ryle, who steps out. Now, Sarge, you're a former player. That cap for first-year players, would you have wanted that even when you were selected by, let's say, the Giants?
Well, if the money was, if you're talking $15 million,
that ball's pretty deep down the left field line. It is a foul ball.
We're talking, when I signed in a #1 draft choice, I got a whopping $35,000. That's funny.
That's a pretty good amount of money, though, back in the early 70s.
Exactly. But, again, I just think that the guys that are in the game really deserve it. The guys that are coming in the game,
I agree
and you
with you on
got
that.
2-year sports guys that take the money and run, which is another problem. So, let's let some of these guys prove themselves, and whatever limit you want. See, Jamie.
Jamie picks up his first strikeout.
Make it around whatever, 2 million, 3, 4 million, 5, but any higher than that, I mean, it's just, for me, doesn't make sense. As you see a ball on the outer half of the plate, Jamie's strong, haven't pitched in a while, get movement on that.
Well, with one out, here's Alex Romero. Romero popped to shortstop his first time up, and he delivers a pitch for a strike. By the way, Jamie Moyer has been now credited with a base hit on his roller in the bottom of the fourth inning. So no error for John Garland.
Well, I already had a hit. Actually, I had put down, and I usually do mine in ink. Okay.
So you now do not have to change it.
No. I just thought again that he was off balance, and to ask a pitcher to try and corral the ball and clearly off balance, it's a bit much.
Two and one the count to Alex Romero. That one's in the air to center field. Victorino started in. Now he heads back. And he makes the grab, 2 away. Sarge, the last time a 215 game winner started and was immediately followed by a 256 game winner. Pedro Martinez won 250 or has 215 career victories. Jamie has 256. Was on April 18th, 1988. Bert Blyleven, who had 245 wins, was replaced by Steve Carlton when both played for the Twins, when Carlton won 329 games.
Wow.
At that point.
Should be 2 Hall of Famers, just one. Bert Blyleven. Just can't tell you how filthy this guy was as a pitcher.
There's a pop-up down the left field line, foul territory. Phillies on the run, and he just barely misses getting to the spot. The fan caught the ball, apologized to Pedro, but Pedro wasn't there, and he did a nice job getting in position.
Yeah, it's hard to get over there as fast as you want because it is wet. We'll be doing a lot of slipping if you try and get there too quick and then stop.
So 1-1 the White Sox. A chopper right side, easy play for Chase Utley, even on a slick field. And it's a 1-2-3 fifth inning for Jamie Moyer. He's retired 6 straight. We have played 4.5, and the Phillies, with the rain falling, have made it official. They lead it 3-1. Major League pitcher Ricky Pitalico, plus exclusive player reactions on Sloan Toyota presents Phillies postgame live after the game only on Comcast Sportsnet. Well, it continues to rain here at the ballpark, but that has not dissolved the cotton candy. The cotton candy is still tasting pretty good.
Yeah, it looks
here
like
in Philadelphia. And we understand that this storm that's coming through right now, well, we're hoping that it's not going to be too long. It is an official game. The Phillies leading at 3-1 as we begin the bottom of the 5th inning. John Garland's still out there for the Diamondbacks. And he'll face 4, 5, and 6. Ryan Howard, Jason Worth, and Raul Ibanez. Ryan has struck out. He's also popped out to right. And he hits one in the air to left center field. Moving back is Ryan Roberts. Does he have room at the wall? And he makes the catch as he spins his wheels right into the Southwest Airlines sign.
Boy, I thought he had enough. It had the sound on it. Hit into one of the deepest parts of the field. In left center, more center field, really. Well, you can see him struggling a little bit. Didn't get back, so you can see how the ball didn't carry as much as I thought it was. Pretty good play, though.
Boy, Ryan Roberts has really had an adventure out there in left field tonight. One out. Here's Jason Worth, who has doubled home a run and scored a run. And the count, no balls and 1 strike.
Jason has a chance to drive in 100 runs. Needs to get hot, however. And again, those easy RBIs when you have runners on third, got to be able to pick them up.
Oh, that's a pretty good pick-me-up right there. A line drive to deep left, and it's gone. A home run for Jason Worth. That makes it 4-1. It also gives him a career-high 25 home runs. Well, what a season this has been for Jason.
He seems to kind of let those easy RBIs go, but again, when he gets angry, when he stays in there, he's as good a hitter as any of them on this club, except for maybe Chase Utley and Ibanez. But on that right side, take a look at it. Got his hands down low, but not doing any bailing at all. See you later, Cadillac time. Jason Worth.
Second RBI of the night, second run scored of the night. So his 25 homers, a career high, matching his 72 RBIs, a career high. Also his 75 runs scored, a career high. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike to Raul. Well, he always felt that if he played every day, he'd put up big numbers, and he certainly has done that.
See Ibanez making an effort, trying to go the other way. They have the shift on him. Haven't seen that for a while. Look at the home run there. You can just hear the sound on it as he hits it through the raindrops. No doubt about it when he left the bat.
And Jay Luciano of Vineland, New Jersey, you've just won $100 courtesy of Jason Worth at a McDonald's home run jackpot.
Well, he's trying to hit that ball right on the ground. You can see that on that left side, all the area that Ibanez has to hit that ball. Just trying to get that ball on the ground, making an effort trying to go that way. And Garland, on the other hand, trying to keep that ball inside. Well, if you take a look at Jason Worth and wondering if he can play every day, well, he's answered all of his critics as far as that's concerned. And some of those people to stand up that say that he couldn't play every day.
And Raul is called out on an inside fastball. 2 outs.
Tough pitch. Don't know if that ball actually came back or not, or came back late. Garland having it in a pretty good spot. Take a look at it. That ball's going to come back, and pitcher's pitch. Right there on the corner, moving back. That's that 2-seamer.
Pedro bounces one foul right past Sam Perlazo. Pedro had an RBI single his last time out. He's 1 for 2. center field. Mara is there, and he makes the catch, and the inning is over. But the Phillies add a little bit more, and a home run by Jason Worth, his 25th of the year. He now has 72 RBIs, and this one got out of here in a hurry. Into gear, then came along the addition of the 2008 AL Cy Young Award winner. Lee's addition and a second-half surge by the rotation is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. We're here for you every step of the way. Well, there's Jason Worth jumping up and down in right field. He's had a very productive night offensively. He's got 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. And his last RBI came on his 25th home run, a career high. He's given the Phillies and Jamie Moyer a 4-1 lead to work with as we start the top of the 6th. And John Garland remains out there for the Diamondbacks. Garland's 0 for 1. He struck out looking in the 3rd. Pedro Martinez started. He went the first 3. And A.J. Hinch's team jumped out to a 1-0 lead over Pedro, who retired the last 8 batters that he faced before the rains came, and Jamie took over. And it's 2-1 to Garland. We mentioned that stat before. The last time a 215 game or more winner started and was immediately followed by at least a 256 game winner, which Jamie is, was back in 1988 when Bert Blyleven started and Steve Carlton relieved him. Well, the good folks at Elias, through Carl Graber, our statistician, have let us know that Blyleven went 3 innings, allowed 5 runs on 7 hits. Carlton, meanwhile, went 1 inning in relief, allowed 6 runs on 7 hits.
Yeah, that's but it was toward the end. Although Steve kept pitching, thinking that, hey, I can still pitch. But a lot of times, though, no one has to tell you that it's at the end. The hitters are going to let you know, and that's by pounding on that ball.
Well, the Yankees did that night. 3-2 the count to Garland. Chopper right side. Chase charges. Garland's retired for out number 1. 7 in a row retired by Jamie. And 1 out here in the top of the 6th.
And Jamie getting those ground balls, that's when he's at his best.
Well, since his last start, Jamie has thrown a couple of bullpens. He's thrown almost every day, right, Sarge? I mean, just to keep his arm fresh.
Oh, yeah. And you know, there's the thing when you're in the bullpen, though, they don't want you throwing every day. Just say, for instance, if he had thrown today and maybe thrown aside, he wouldn't have been able to come out and pitch these innings. Don't know how long they throw their side, but Jamie does it to just kind of keep sharp.
Stephen Drew takes one for a strike. It's 0-1.
Now, and the other thing for Jamie, I mean, when he's playing and into the game and he studies it, he's having fun out there. Well, you take that away and not being able to pitch, it's really difficult. But if you play this game long enough, guess what? Everybody's going to have a turn.
Well, that's one of the things Jamie even said, is that he's played this game for such a long time. He has seen and done everything. You know, he's been a starter. He's been a reliever. He's been a journeyman. He's been a 20-game winner. I mean, he has seen and done a lot. And he's ahead 1-2 to Stephen Drew.
Yeah, this kind of a game for him is kind of gut check time for him. You know, just because of some of the things that he said. Now, when you get out there, you know, the Philly fans didn't mind as a ground ball goes to J-Bo, backhands it, gets him in time. But the fans, though, Tom, gave him kind of a standing ovation. Didn't hear a lot of boos for Jamie, and a lot has to do probably with him being and from the area.
Well, and also with what he's done in a Phillies uniform since he came over from the Mariners. Well, he's got 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. He's retired 8 in a row, and of those 8 outs, 6 have come on the ground. And here's Ryan Roberts, who is 2 for 2. He singled against Jamie to start the 4th, and the count 1-0 to him.
Mark Grace reminded me today that off of Pedro that he hit .313, and saying, and he does against those right-handed pitchers, he put a good stroke on most of them most of the time. Good player for a guy that didn't hit a lot of home runs. Excellent defensive player.
And right on cue, there's a youngster with a Pedro Martinez t-shirt jersey there.
How about that?
1-1 the count to Ryan Roberts. And it's 1-2. A changeup came in, 76 from Jamie. Popped up. Good pitch. Ruiz in front of the mound. Here comes Ryan Howard. Carlos makes the call and makes the two-handed grab. That's a tough play for a catcher. And it's another 1-2-3 inning for Jamie Moyer. He has retired 9 straight as we go to the bottom of the 6th. The drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. By McDonald's, introducing new Angus burgers made with juicy 100% Angus beef, available with premium toppings in 3 varieties for just $3.99. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by W.B. Mason. Who but W.B. Mason for amazingly low office product prices. Bottom of the 6th inning, Phillies lead it 4-1. rain has been falling really since the game resumed. It had stopped. They took the tarp off the field, did a great job getting the field ready. The lightning is pretty much passed by, so they're just playing through this shower here.
Yeah. As long as you're not getting that lightning out there, that's not all that bad.
And Carlos Ruiz has 2 hits tonight, an RBI, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike to him. And John Garland has not only worked through the rain, but also worked through a 1 hour and 6-minute rain delay to stay out there.
He's the type of pitcher, he will take the ball, no doubt about that. A lot of pitchers, I'm sure they give the option, how you feel, do you want to go back in? And he did.
Two and 2 the count. In the air to left field. It's deep and it's angling toward the stands. Gone! Carlos Ruiz is 3 for 3. A solo home run, and the Phillies lead it 5-1.
More impressive on that too, Tom, there. Going green all of a sudden. He hits a breaking ball that hung up. That's what happens. Going green again. Dancing green again. When you hang them, Carlos Sombrano used to say somebody's got to bang them. And this ball is hit. Now watch this ball. Look at the break on it. Stays right out over the plate. Ruiz knows the ball is out. Cadillac time again, and it goes back a few rows. Line drive, he knew it was gone when it left the bat.
Oh, it got out of here in a hurry. Jamie Moyer the other way. Another base hit for Jamie. 2 for 2 since taking over for Pedro. How about that?
Tell you, Tom, like I said, there's just no justice in this game. Here's a guy haven't been hitting at all, and look at that 2-hit game. Wow. Well, here it is again as he goes the other way, and he'll talk about his hitting. He's thinking about maybe throwing that to first base there, but see everybody looking at Jamie going like, what is going on? Nice hitting.
So with nobody out, Jimmy Rollins the batter. So the inning begins with Carlos Ruiz's solo home run. First homer since the 23rd of July. Then Jamie reaches on a base hit to left. He's on first, not being held on. And now Jimmy's up with the count 1 ball and no strikes. He's 1 for 3. Off the end of the bat. It's a flare to left center field. And there's one away. Monday, September 28th at 7:05. It's the final Hatfield Dollar Dog Night here at the ballpark. You can purchase your tickets by logging on to Phillies.com. Not only get tickets for that ball game, but also the other 3 against the Houston Astros as we head into the month of October. Again, log on to Phillies.com. Get tickets for that one, and also the 3-game series against the Nationals in the middle of the month. There's Shane Victorino. The count, no balls and 1 strike to him.
Tough pitch to hit. High fastball, 2-seamer.
Chopper toward the right side. That'll sneak into right field, a base hit. Jamie stops at second. And Victorino has 2 hits on the evening. And with 1 out, 2 runners on, and here comes A.J. Hinch, and that's probably going to be it for John Garland. And it may not be rally cap time. It just may be trying to stay dry time. So Garland's night is done. And the new pitcher is going to be the left-hander, Daniel Schlereth. So he'll come on with the Phillies leading at 5-1 here at the bottom of the 6th. The 2 runners on are his responsibility. Here's Daniel Schlereth in his 9th ball game. No wins, 2 losses, a 6.75 ERA. He was a first-round pick last year out of the University of Arizona. And if his name looks familiar, and it's kind of an odd last name, but if you've heard it before in professional sports, his dad is the former offensive lineman for a handful of Super Bowl winning teams, Mark Schlereth. So he made his major league debut earlier this year and is on here with the Phillies, sending Chase Utley and Ryan Howard up with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Victorino's on first. Jamie Moyer, who's 2 for 2, is on second base. Chase has been hit by a pitch. He's walked. He's flied to center. And he's got a chance to add to this Phillies lead. And the first pitch gets away from Montero. Jamie goes to third. Victorino to second. And that'll be a wild pitch charge to Schlereth.
Now, the way he caught that ball looked as if he almost crossed him up. But since he didn't go out to the mound and discuss anything, he just, let's see where it is before I say, well, that ball hit the dirt there. But he didn't stay down on that ball. Tried to come up with it and shot right through the 5 hole.
So 1-0 the count to Chase. Now a base hit could score 2. The infield is in halfway. And it's 2-0. After being selected last year in the first round, Schlereth only pitched in 10 games before the end of the year for Arizona. He was the 26th player taken in last year's draft. And it's 3 balls and no strikes now to Chase.
Thinking Chase could have the green light here. If he gets a fastball that he likes, go on and hack at it. Got to be in your area, though. It's got to be a pitch that it would be your home run pitch, the ball that you'd want to swing at if you're swinging 3-0. If it's not there, because you are ahead of the count, got to take it.
He is taking all the way there, and I think he did just exactly what you said, Sarge. It wasn't the pitch he wanted. It was close. It's ball 4, and the bases are now loaded. And Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the pitching coach for the Diamondbacks, goes out to talk to Schlereth with Ryan Howard due up.
Well, he's been throwing a breaking ball, wasn't able to get the breaking ball over.
A reminder, with this rain delay going on and all the action offensively for the Phils, this game will encore tonight at 10:30 and tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. on the Comcast network. Pedro Martinez started this one, went the first 3. Allowed hits to the first 2 batters he faced, but then retired 9 straight before the rains came. He left the Phillies trailing at 1-0. And then, after the delay, the Phillies have scored 5 unanswered runs, and they lead at 5-1, and they've got the bases loaded for Ryan Howard.
Well, that breaking ball so far that he's been throwing, he has to throw that at Ryan's hip for it to be a strike. I'm looking for a first pitch fastball all the way. Any other pitch, I'm taking it. There it is.
92 miles an hour at the knees, and he takes it for strike 1.
He's sitting on breaking ball, but again, he showed you early on he wasn't able to get that breaking ball over. So therefore, first pitch, look fastball, and now be able to swing. Now he can go to the breaking ball. Another fastball.
Talked about Ryan's success on the road trip, and it's carried over as the Diamondbacks get Leo Rosales up, a right-hander. Ryan's success is carried over against lefties.
High fastball.
And he's down on strikes. 92 miles an hour, 3 straight fastballs.
Yeah. No, it's no secret, though, when they get 2 strikes, either in the dirt or the high fastball. But the best pitch that he had to hit was the very first pitch. That ball was almost right down the middle, a little bit in. Might have had a little bit better success. He's got to get up on this if you're going to swing, and that's borderline. Could have been a ball, but with 2 strikes, you want to be hacking.
So Ryan has struck out for the 2nd time tonight with the bases loaded. He's 0 for 4. Here's Jason Worth, and he takes one low. Jason is 2 for 3. A double, a home run, 2 RBIs, and a couple of runs scored. He's got a chance to drive in some more because a base hit, with the way this outfield is playing, Victorino should score very easily from second.
Yeah, you could break this game open by getting a base hit. Good swing.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Marlins lead the Astros 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th. Astros had a 2-0 lead in that one. Houston traded Ivan Rodriguez today to the Texas Rangers for a couple of minor leaguers. Jared Saltalamacchia had been doing some catching for the Rangers. He's banged up. And it's 2-1 to Jason as Montero keeps that one in front of him. Jamie stays at third.
Again, until he proves that he can get the breaking ball over, if you don't have 2 strikes, you're just looking hard. Well, again, right now, Jason should be looking hard on him. He's throwing the fastball 92, and usually if they throw the breaking ball, it's going to be up.
That's pretty good late movement there by Schlereth.
Out the fastball, however, ball moved away from him.
Schlereth's dad won 3 Super Bowl championships. He played 12 years in the NFL.
Wow. Only 3 championships tells you all you need to know.
Chopper toward third. Reynolds backs up on it. His only play is to first, and it's in time to get Jason Worth, and the inning is over. So the Phillies strand the bases loaded. They do get 1 and a home run by Carlos Ruiz. They lead it 5-1.
It's a tale of 2 pitchers. Jamie Moyer has been unbelievable in relief since he came into the game behind Pedro Martinez, who was very, very effective tonight. And Carlos Ruiz is 3 for 3 with a homer. Jason Worth, an RBI double and a solo homer. Phillies still have left the bases loaded twice tonight. Talk about a tale of 2 cities was written by Charles Dickens, of course, and that band was pretty close to that. And this has been two different games here tonight, Tommy.
Everybody's just trying to stay dry right now. I mean, it continues to rain, and that's the one part of this tale that's been constant. As Chris Snyder's coming in for the bullpen. The Diamondbacks have only 4 extra men, so they're probably gonna need a guy like Snyder eventually. J.B. Moyer will start things off against Gerardo Parra, and he delivers one high. It's 1-0, and Wheels, the way this is going, Jamie looks rather comfortable out there. I mean, if he can keep throwing strikes and keep getting some ground ball outs, and he's pretty fresh and stretched out too.
Yeah, I wonder what they are thinking down there. They have been able to tack on some runs too, which have helped. Single runs in the 5th and 6th with a chance for a much bigger inning last inning.
In the air to right field, Jason Worth ventures back to the warning track, and the wind will make him run along that track, and he does a nice job tracking it down. 1 away.
It didn't look like or sound like a home run when it left the bat, and it did start to die out there a little bit, but the spot that Jason ran to, the ball wasn't there. He's kind of looking up at the flags, and of course they're so wet they're not moving, but there must be some wind because it took it away from him. But now there's one flag here, and that one's moving a little bit, but for the most part they can't move because they're so wet and heavy.
See the championship flags.
It is kind of raining straight down right now too, like there isn't a whole lot of wind.
Mark Reynolds, the batter, and he finally takes a pitch. The count is 1 ball, no strikes to him. Reynolds is 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded out, and he hits that one in the air, mile high. That one is way up there. Raul Ibanez is over toward the line. 2 away.
Well, he needed some windshield wipers. As long as that was in the air, that's a home run hitter's fly ball.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, it's a final up in New York. The Mets have defeated the Braves 9-4. Louis Castillo, a couple RBIs, a run scored.
Feels funny rooting for the Mets, huh?
It's going to be an odd couple of days. So if the Phillies can hang on here, they'll push the Braves back even farther in the division. Marlins are winning their game, as we saw in the top of the 8th inning against the Houston Astros. Here's Montero. He's 0 for 2. And he takes a pitch on the outside corner. Wheels, the last time, and we're going to have a lot of these notes when Jamie's out there. The last time Jamie's had a relief appearance longer than 3 innings, it was back in 1996. Wow. When he threw 5 innings against the Detroit Tigers.
Who was he with? Was he with Baltimore then?
He had to be with Baltimore.
Yeah, it may have been. Wow. When he's retired 11 in a row. Like I said, he's just been terrific tonight. Gave up a hit to the first batter he faced.
96, I'm sorry. He was with the Red Sox and the Seattle Mariners in 1996.
Wow.
At that point, he was with the Red Sox. That's really where his turnaround began. He was 7-1 that year with Boston. He appeared in 23 games before he was traded to Seattle, and 10 of those games were starts. The other 13 were out of the bullpen.
Yeah, and then his whole career turned around when he went to Seattle, obviously. He became a great starting pitcher for the Mariners for a long, long time.
Yeah, he was 6-2 that year with Seattle, so he was 13-3 overall. 2-2 the count to Montero. And Carlos slams his glove. He wanted to hang on to that one.
Yeah, catchers really want to help their pitcher when they catch those third strikes like that, the foul tips. But you either catch it or you don't. It's not like you can practice it.
Off the end of the bat, a little flare to right center field. That's in for a base hit. Jason Worth got to it quickly, so Montero's held up at first base. He's now hit in 8 straight games. Well, Jamie had retired 11 in a row before that base hit. Hey, these lucky fans are tonight's Citizen 7. They're a little wet, but they're also tonight's Citizen 7. They will each receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. Ryle takes a swing and a miss at that one. It's 0-1.
And Ryle hit a long foul home run his last time up, and then Jamie started to throw a little more off-speed stuff with him and starting there with a changeup.
Yeah, he has struck out twice tonight. Once against Pedro, once against Jamie. I mentioned before that Rusty's dad Mark played for the Phillies. Played in 29 games for the Phillies at .242 overall in his big league career. He played in 127 games and had 7 home runs, and is a lifetime .211 hitter.
He was more a pinch hitter with the Phillies.
But he was in the lineup wheels the day that Mitch Williams made his Chicago Cubs debut.
That's an unbelievable story, and it's a, well, 2 outs. We'll try it next time.
Yeah,
we'll tell that. Was someday.
2-2 the count.
That takes a little setup.
On the inside corner, called strike 3. Third time Ryle's gone down on strikes, and for Jamie Moyer, his second strikeout of the night. He had retired 11 in a row, then a base hit, and then finally this strikeout. Quiz answer. What player had the walk-off base hit in Game 7 of the 2001 World Series for the Diamondbacks? Man, you got to see the setup Wheels has got. I mean, he immediately popped his glasses off, and he's got a smile on his face because he knows the answer is...
Bases loaded, infield in, outfield in. Mariano Rivera throws a slider.
Mariano Rivera.
A cutter right on the thumbs of Luis Gonzalez, and he bloops it into left center field. World Series winner.
Well, that is your correct answer. You can log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. Thanks for playing Dodge Stump the Fans.
You didn't ask for that much detail, but that was fun.
No, out of nowhere, the Diamondbacks beat the Yankees in that World Series. I shouldn't say out of nowhere. I mean, they had a great year.
Yeah.
But that turned out to be a very interesting World Series. It came right after the tragedy of 9/11. And there was, an awful lot of emotion around the world of baseball, just as there was around the world for that World Series.
Great World Series.
Ibanez grounds one to second, and Ryle takes care of him.
That's when the Yankees hit all those dramatic home runs off Kim.
Scott Brocious
at Yankee Stadium.
Derek Jeter.
Oh, man. And then they went out to Arizona, and Arizona beat them a couple games to win the World Series. And that was when the Yankees weren't going to lose too many World Series.
Well, we've got a pitching change here at Citizens Bank Park at the bottom of the 7th inning. Schlerit's night is done. Rosales' night is just beginning. 463-5000 or log on to Phillies.com. Well, Leo Rosales is the new pitcher for the Diamondbacks with one out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Pedro Phillies rolls a spinner to Ryle for out number 2. So one pitched by Rosales. He's got the second out. 20th ball game. 4.40 ERA. He's 1-0. 21 strikeouts in 29 now innings of work.
The Phillies, there's the numbers on him right there. The Phillies do not have anybody up in the bullpen. Jamie Moyer, nobody's in the on-deck circle, but they'll give him a little leeway on that normally when it's raining, not to make a guy have to come out.
Well, Carlos Ruiz has had a nice night. He's got 3 hits, a home run, a couple RBIs.
And Moyer comes out, and he had to adjust to a brand new pitcher in the 4th inning tonight. And they've worked well together tonight, Jamie and Carlos. It's not like they haven't before, but it's not like they sat before the game, went over the hitters and how they were going to game plan the hitters and all that. So they've done a nice job.
Two and 1 the count, or excuse me, 3-0 the count to Carlos.
And Jamie Moyer now is in the on-deck circle. The rain is just about stopped.
There's Jamie. He's got 2 hits tonight. He wants to take another hack up there. And he's going to get a chance to do it. Ball 4 as Ruiz walks on 4 pitches.
Sometimes, you talk to sports writers and broadcasters. Sometimes you have to look for an angle, a lead in a game. Not tonight.
No.
There it is right there. There's everybody's lead, everybody's angle.
If he gets another hit here, it's going to change the angle a little bit more. 2-hit ball game for Jamie.
Well, the white hot spotlight's right on him tonight. And Pedro looked like he was going to be just fine in this game. He was throwing great those last couple innings before that end of the world thunderstorm hit here.
Yeah, he allowed the home run to Drew and then a base hit to Roberts. And then after that, he didn't allow anything else.
Yeah, and the home run to Drew, he hit a changeup off the end of the bat that, those things happen here.
1-1 the count to Jamie. He's going to smile because that pitch, that last one, came pretty close to hitting him. See that bullpen? They're just hanging out right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you know what? He could finish this.
Well, he's going to go into the 8th, that's for sure.
Well, he's down on strike, so Jamie, at least up to this point, has to settle for a 2-hit night. He'll settle for that if he can get the victory. We go to the top of the 8th inning, and Jamie's got a 4-run lead. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. And Jamie Moyer is delivering a heck of a relief appearance tonight. On for Pedro Martinez after Pedro threw 3 innings. And then the rains came, and Jamie is beginning the top of the 8th against Alex Romero, who's 0 for 2 tonight. He's popped out twice. And the count, no balls and 1 strike to Romero. Jamie has scattered 2 hits over 4 innings of work so far. And it's 0-2. I think we saw last year how important a long man is for any ball club. And for Jamie, with all of his abilities and all of his knowledge of every team the Phillies face, picks up a strikeout there. He can be a huge asset for this bullpen. And you know what? The Phillies have a number of double headers coming up in the very near future, and you know, Jamie can be a huge asset for the team with those double headers too. Well,
he's a classic long man who you hope you don't have to use that way, and that pitch comes running in on Romero, and he swings over it. You know, because as you mentioned, Tom, he's stretched out as a starter right now. You don't want to use a long man necessarily, because that means a starter gets knocked out. But in this case, it was a rain delay, and what a great job he's done.
He makes a nice play on that one. 2 away here in the 8th inning.
And you mentioned the double headers, and that's why it was so important to get that game in Atlanta the other night too, because they didn't want to have a 3rd double header in the month of September. Already have 2, one with Florida and one with the Mets.
Well, Chris Snyder is going to pinch hit here at the top of the 8th inning. One of 4 extra men for the Arizona Diamondbacks, so they've got 3 left. And Jamie didn't like that first baseball from Mike Riley. He asked for a second one. Snyder was the starting catcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks when this season began. Then an injury put him on the DL, and Miguel Montero, who is the starting catcher now, he just started to hit.
Oh, he took off. Miguel Montero really started to swing the bat, and he won games for them with his offense, and they say he can catch and do the job back there.
0-1 the count to Snyder. And Snyder has been a pretty good hitting catcher, been a decent receiver overall, but he's hit the ball well for the Diamondbacks over the last couple of years. It's that one deep toward left, and it's going to hook foul. Off the facing of the arcade level and down right through the hands of that young man right there. Hey, that was a tough one. And he's got long arms too.
That ball was hit hard too.
Yeah. Man, it's not a ball that he needed to catch anyway. That would have hurt.
Here it comes. That ball is a screamer. You see,
oh, he did have it.
And the young lady beside him, she's getting out of it.
How about that? He's all smiles despite the fact he missed that foul ball, because he'll exchange it for a strikeout for Jamie Moyer. And Jamie getting a great reaction as he walks off the field after a 1-2-3 top of the 8th inning that included 2 strikeouts. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. By your local Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is ready when you are. Go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. And by Bud Light Lime. The drinkability of Bud Light with a refreshing taste of lime. Well, the sold-out crowd has watched the Phillies fall behind 1-0 and then score 5 unanswered runs, 3 in the third, 1 in the fifth, and 1 in the sixth. And they've also seen 5 outstanding innings of relief by Jamie Moyer. He struck out 4 and allowed 2 hits over the 5 innings he was out there. And we'll see if he pitches the top of the ninth. They've pulled the tarp off the bullpen mound. Nobody's up and loosening just yet as John Roush takes over for the Diamondbacks here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Jimmy Rollins is 1 for 4. And he went around, says Mike Riley, so it's 0-2.
A lot of times you get into this kind of game, you use a bunch of pitchers, and it's up to scorer's discretion. There are the numbers on Roush, Big John Roush, on who gets a decision in the game. In this case, it's going to be pretty easy if the Phillies win it.
Absolutely. So Roush gets a strikeout of Jimmy, 1 away here in the bottom of the 8th. Hey, the final series of the 2009 regular season is right around the corner. That's right, Friday, October 2nd. The Florida Marlins and the Phillies will play a 3-game set here at Citizens Bank Park. First 2 games are at 7:05. There are seats still available for the first 2 games of the series. Fan Appreciation Day sold out. But we ask you to log on to Phillies.com now. Get your tickets because they are going very quickly.
You never know about those 3 games.
Never know. Yep. Those last 7 games here at the ballpark, 4 against the Astros, and then 3 against the Marlins. You never know. 1-1 the count to Victorino. Shane's had a good night. He's got 2 hits. He's grounded out. He's flied out to center. And it's 2-1. Well, still nobody up loosening in the bullpen for the Phillies.
No, Moyer's going to pitch tonight, it looks like.
I kind of figure why not. I mean, his pitch count is kind of low.
They may have somebody up as the inning begins just in case.
It looked like Ryan Matson had been ready to loosen up. Slow roller to first. Weitzel will take it to the bag. 2 outs. So John Roush has 2 away. There's Jamie. He's still on the bench, so yeah, he's going to pitch the 9th inning, or at least start the 9th inning. Chase has been on base 3 times. Couple walks, a hit batter.
Boy, we have a good matchup here tomorrow night. Dan Herron and Cliff Lee.
How about that?
That's a great game on paper.
Cliff Lee has been outstanding since the Phillies picked him up. And Dan Herron, well, his last time out, he allowed a run over 8 innings against the Dodgers. As Chase lines one the opposite way, a base hit for Utley. He's around first, he'll hold up there.
Like that hit, kind of got jammed and fought one off.
So Chase is aboard for the 4th time tonight.
Brian Howard's had kind of a frustrating night. He really carried the Phillies on that last road trip, and he's had all kinds of shots at RBIs tonight. Bases loaded twice, once with nobody out, another time with 1 out, and not able to produce anything.
When you mentioned Two Wheels, this road trip, I mean, he was 8 for 21 on the road trip.
Well, they don't win some of those games without his production.
No.
He did a tremendous job. But tonight, he just really got over anxious. Those 2 at bats with the bases loaded, and he got himself out.
2-1 the count to Ryan as he takes a fastball inside and low. John Roush has been a workhorse during his career. The Diamondbacks were in the race last year for postseason, and they picked him up from the Washington Nationals. And they thought he would help out this year. And they just, like more than any other team in the National League, turned the page in such a negative way from one season to the next. All the young players they thought were going to blossom, a lot got banged up, and some just underperformed. In the air to right field. That's a towering shot. Moving back is Romero. Does he have room? He does, and he makes the catch a few strides from the wall. Boy, that one was a mile high.
Yeah,
so
he just missed that one.
He just missed it. Ryan is retired. Jamie is about ready to begin the top of the ninth.
Against these guys out there in Arizona. They're coming in here tonight. They're a free swinging team, Arizona. He came in right away, gave up a base hit, and then threw a lot of strikes, mixed his pitches up the way that he does. Phillies tacked on a few runs, made it a little more comfortable. And what a great job he's done here tonight and trying to get 3 more outs as the bullpen is up as the inning begins, Tom.
Well, he's allowed 2 hits so far through the first 5 innings of relief. 4 strikeouts, facing Stephen Drew to start the top of the 9th inning. Drew is 1 for 3. Count 1 ball and 1 strike to Drew. Brad Lidge is up and loosening for the Phillies. This is not a save situation.
Right. What Lidge is up is if Jamie Moyer were to pitch this into a save situation, they're going to use him, it would appear. So he'll start out just kind of tossing out there and not get too lathered up, I would think. And then if you start to get base runners, he'll get serious.
1-2 the count to Stephen Drew. That one just missed. 2-2.
Moyer's thrown what, 64 pitches now, 22 balls, 42 strikes.
And he's matched his career-long relief appearance with that strikeout of Stephen Drew. What, did he handcuff him on the inside part of the plate?
Yeah, you saw Drew's reaction there as he foul tipped that. We were talking about catching foul tips. Well, Carlos got himself one here. Here he comes in on him, as Tom said, and there's a little foul tip, goes right in the webbing of the glove, and Jamie Moyer gets a strikeout to begin the inning.
Amazing drop right at the last moment of that, as that ball went off the bat of Drew, and then dropped even more into the glove of Ruiz.
Right, you see Carlos took Ruiz took a little check to see, do I have it? Yeah, it's in there.
Here's Ryan Roberts. He's got a couple hits. 1 against Jamie, 1 against Pedro. 2 for 3. And the count 2 balls and no strikes to him. He takes that fastball off the outside part of the plate. Jamie with 256 career wins. To third base. Good hop for Pedro Phillies. 2 away.
Some story tonight, huh?
Some story. What's left of the sold-out crowd. A record-breaking sold-out crowd trying to get behind 46-year-old Jamie Moyer. Facing Gerardo Parra. And he swings at the first pitch, lines it toward right. Worth is there, and he makes the catch. How about that? Jamie Moyer, 2 hits over 6 innings in relief, and he wins it for the Phillies. What a long man, and what a performance by the Phillies.